One's ready. Go!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. You're in the team room. Let's see if this thing is actually working before and it looks like it's live now. Son Ransom, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, sir. It's nice to be here.
Absolutely. I'm just waiting. I'm looking on the other end here and just making sure that you're coming up and it's not just me. That's really weird. I only see, so let's wait for the chat to kind of hop in and see if they can actually see you. And
I
then
can
we'll
ask my chat too.
Yeah, see if they see you. Because right now I'm only seeing myself, which is really weird. May have to have you leave and come back on, but no, don't do it yet though. Let's see what everybody sees. Because if it's just my face, that's no good for anybody.
They see you every day.
You guys see Sergeant Ransom. That's really weird.
She said they can't see me yet.
Yeah, that's real. That's really weird. Okay. All right. Do me a favor. Just leave the session and then come back in and I'll let you back in. That's really weird that it's not showing up. 1 second, everybody. We're going to try and figure this out. For some reason, she's not showing up for you guys. I don't even know if you can hear her or not. All right. Let's see what happens here. Oh, cool. All right. I may have to.
It shows 99% now, so I feel like it might.
Okay. I think everybody can see you now. All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure that we don't have an echo and good. All right, cool. Well, everybody, now that you can actually see who I'm talking to, and I'm not just talking to myself, we have Staff Sergeant Ransom, who is a Las Vegas enlisted Accessions recruiter. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's talk about why you joined the Air Force first, and then what you did for the Air Force, and then we'll kind of go along.
I was actually in AFJRTC for all of high school. My mom forced me to do it. I'm actually glad I did it. But I had a mentor. He was a chief, and he was all for Air Force. And he actually talked to all of my family members. So my brother and my sister actually joined before me. And then I joined after them, obviously because I was younger than them. And then, yeah, I joined right out of high school. I was 18, and my first job was actually radiology, and it wasn't for me. I wasn't for the long tech school. I wasn't for all this different subjects they had for me. So I ended up getting retrained into aviation resource management, which was the best job ever. I loved it so much. I work with every air crew. I work with SW2. Whoever hopped on a plane, I worked with them. I created flight orders, tracked their training. It was the best job ever. I got to fly on an F-16, on the HH-60G and Whiskey, C-130s. It was a lot of freaking fun. I loved it. I got to deal with every kind of aircraft at the weapons school with Chief. It was the best. He didn't remember me, but it's cool.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So, as much humility as I can possibly say, we ended up at the Guardian Grit One's Ready event in Las Vegas, and I looked at you and I was like, you know what, you look familiar, but but I didn't put two and two together with your last name Ransom, and then you're like, yeah, dude, I was at the weapons school with you. You're an asshole. You were my chief. So,
I did not say that. I did not say that.
You didn't say that, but I said that. So, yeah.
No, you deal with a lot of people. I didn't take it to heart. It's okay.
Yeah. But I am glad that you mentioned it during this, so it's good.
I had to give you shit.
Yeah, I need to be taken down a peg or two. So no, it's good. All right. So did you always want to be a recruiter or?
Actually, I didn't. I actually always wanted to be an MTI. That was like my Air Force dream. My senior actually put me in for DSD, and I said no because at the time I was mill to mill, and they just didn't line up. And somehow I got picked up for recruiting, which I was upset at first because I wanted to promote before I got put into DSD. But I ended up loving it. I love my flight in Vegas. I have the best flight chief. She's always had my back and has always looked out for me, and we're both super competitive. So there's like a competition in recruiting, and we are both like, "Oh, your points are down. You need to get your points up." And she's like helping me on how to do that. And everything's a competition, and I love it.
Got it.
But it's been great. I've been here for a year now, so I've been a recruiter for a year now. I've loved it. My whole flight is like a little family. It's the best. It's a lot different from being in the actual like Air Force because you're so excluded from everything. We just hear about like jobs and what's open now and what we can take now. And so it's really crazy to hear like people's opinions about what's going on in the Air Force because we're so detached from it. But I love it. I'm really happy I got chosen for it, actually. It became a blessing at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about where you're at in Las Vegas is that you're not the only recruiter for Las Vegas. There's a
Mhm.
ton of you guys here. Like,
I want to say there's 12 now. We've downgraded a little bit. But there was 15 when I first got here. Now there's 12. And it is crazy how many of us there are, and we are all honestly really close, which is also unheard of. But it's really cool how we can like all come together and help each other out, which we all do. So it's a lot different from like operational when you're in your own shop and everybody's such a different job and we're just working together for obviously the same mission, helping our applicants and stuff like that. So I really enjoy doing it every day. There's obviously, bad applicants, but everybody has something in their job.
yeah, well, and how many are you guys dealing with on it? Like, how many at any
Ooh.
one time, how many do you deal with?
So like right now, I'll say what's in my Q&W. So qualified and waiting, I have about 20 in my qualified and waiting, and so does my office partner. So we have a pretty big bucket. And then our candidates and recruits are also a pretty big bucket. They have about 15 to 20 as well. So it's a lot of working parts and working people, and just trying to get them qualified to join. Everybody in Vegas, I'll say, has a pretty big bucket. We have a lot of market, a lot of walk-ins. Like Craig Road has a really big walk-in market. I won't say ours is very big walk-in because a lot of people don't even know where we are or know we exist because we're at the Boulevard, which I don't even know if you've been there, Chief. A lot of people don't know we exist. They just Google us and find us, so it's
Yeah,
nice. But we all have pretty big buckets and it's nice. It's just very time consuming.
yeah, it is, and the whole point of me kind of asking you that is one, it was really surprising to me when you and Sergeant Wesson told me they're like, "Hey, we are the busiest in the Air Force, or the
Mhm.
biggest city in the U.S. for Air Force, candidates," which it
Mhm.
was mind blowing. So I don't know what, usually you hear something like, a Fayetteville, a Hurlburt Field, someplace where the base has a massive influence on the community. Whereas Vegas is a place where Vegas could easily exist, and a lot of people that visit Vegas have no idea that there's even Nellis Air Force Base or Nellis Test and Training Range,
Mhm.
right here, because there's so much going on in Vegas and it's so big as it is. It's just, any idea why that is for the Air Force? I don't know if the recruiting service kind of tells you guys that.
No, I wouldn't say I know why. Honestly, Thunderbirds help us a ton. Air shows help us a ton. I don't know why we're not so like combined in that sense. I think they just think it speaks for itself. Which Thunderbirds kind of do speak for themselves, as a whole, and they always do the practices above us, so that kind of helps us. We really don't get it from like, oh, Nellis is right here. That's why we came to you. We really don't get that much.
Hmm.
I would say probably Craig Road gets it maybe the most because they're right down the same road. But like the other offices like Henderson, my office, we don't get it as much, I would say. My office anyway doesn't. We'll get like retired Navy and Army and stuff bringing their kids in, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't say I get so much from Nellis, and I really don't know why actually. Maybe it's just a little too far off of where the base is, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay, so you brought it up. and I'm gonna say this right now. I, me and Tech Sergeant Megan, I'll just say Megan. She's a SW recruiter. We had her on, I don't know, 2 months ago, and I asked her, and this is recently. It's just, I'll say it's going viral for us, right? Is because I asked her about parents, and I was like, hey,
Uh,
like, what's the deal with parents? Coming in with, and the amount of comments that I got of saying how much of an idiot I was, and like like, of course I'm going to go in. So to to be clear, I'm not saying that I'm against parents going in there, but consider this, this is me sticking up for the recruiters, is consider that these stories or these lies that recruiters tell candidates, is it possible? I mean, for sure, the answer that every recruiter, or that 100% of recruiters are perfect and don't make wrong assumptions or wrong answers. Like, of course, there is going to be wrong answers. There are going to be bad actors, right? But is it possible that a candidate gets a whole bunch of information from a recruiter and somehow regurgitates that in their mind? And when they tell somebody, they tell their parents, they tell their grandparents, tell their friends who are also involved in the military, that maybe they regurgitate that info wrong. So that's me. I'm not saying that it's, oh my God, I can't believe parents just went in with their kid. I'm just saying that I didn't. And if
yeah.
my kids go in there, I'm not going in there either. Right.
Hmm.
Now they can talk to me about it, but I always try and give the recruiters a bit of a doubt. But what would you say, or do a lot of parents come in and with their 18-year-olds?
Actually, they come in at 25, 30 with their parents, which is crazy to me, but I mean, it's honestly when they come in, it is a game of telephone. They've heard from this person who was in, they've heard from this NCO who's in right now. It's always a game of telephone. I actually do like when the parents come in sometimes because the kid will be on Reddit or they'll be on TikTok or they'll be on whatever it is out there right now, and they'll get the wrong information or they'll get it from somebody who hates the career field or hates the
Mhm.
military. So it's nice for me to be able to tell the parent, like, hey, no, that's actually not how it is. It's actually this way. And it helps me in a sense because that's their backing. That's who helps them with the decision. If their parents are not down for it, they're not going to want to join anymore. Or their parents could be the reason why they change their mind. So, in a sense, the parents do help, but they could also be the bad factor in helping them join because they don't like what they hear. They don't like how everyone thinks we're going to war all the time. So it's like a good and bad. We can
Yeah.
always get the good parents who hate it and they're just there because their kid wants to do it. Or we could get the parents who are like, "Yeah, I like what she said, let's do it." So it's either or, honestly. I like both.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that there's a bad thing for it, but at some point, in my opinion, like I said, I'll get roasted for this. I don't care. I've been roasted before. I think it's better to not have your parents go, or not
Yeah.
have oh, my brother's in the army. Guess what? The army is different than the Air Force.
I get
So
that
just
all the time.
no,
My friend is in the army. He said this and this, and I'm like, "We're not the army, not
yeah.
even a little bit."
Yeah, like one dude left a comment this morning and he's like, well, the Marine Corps is like this. I'm like, okay, cool. This is the
We're
Air
not
Force,
the
not the Marine
same.
Corps.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all right, dude, the cool story. So anyway, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Um, anyway, we got a super chat from Beverly Alford. Howdy, Emily. What specific skills qualifications are most in demand for enlisted roles right now?
I'll take that as what's needed most. We always, always, always need special warfare, obviously. We always need maintenance. So, crew chief, avionics, anything like that. And then we also always need security forces. There's no specific need for those, minus special warfare. Obviously, you need to be physically fit to pass the IFT. But for security forces, you just have to pass your physical, same with maintenance, and obviously get a qualifying ASVAB score. We always shoot for Vegas 50 or higher because less than 50 is really not going to get you anything, and definitely not the in-demand jobs. We always want cops because we always need cops. So that's something to, if you want to join now and join fast, that's what we need the most. And special warfare, we will always need and want.
Mhm.
So if you are interested, you need to start with your, start getting ready for an IFT.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you had talked about getting out the door fast. So, special warfare, it takes, you know, 3 months.
Development, yeah.
Yeah, it takes at the absolute earliest, it's 3 months. Usually it's 6 to 9 months away. So if somebody needs to get out the door right now and you have the job available, security forces, maintenance, something like that, how fast they get out the door?
Oh, that's tough. So we don't get that many seats as like Army, for instance, I work right next to Army, so they tell me how fast they can get people out. Unfortunately, we don't get people out as fast as we would like to. Jobs are pretty much like right now, the jobs that just booked this month are May and June, and that's if you're fully qualified right now. So you have to kind of keep in that into factor. We don't get quick ships as often as we would obviously like to, but if a quick ship does come, your recruiters are always on it. Like we will want it as much as you want it. But I'd say wait time is probably 4 to 9 months, honestly. We can't get you out the door as fast as everyone wants to because everyone in my queue wants to leave tomorrow, which I would love to send them all tomorrow, but that's just not how the Air Force works and how many seats and beds we get. But if you are open to the high demand jobs, you will leave sooner and book faster. And then there's always the scenario of maybe swapping dates with somebody else who wants to leave later and you want to leave sooner. So there's ways around it and there's ways we could try for you, obviously. But I can't say guaranteed you're gonna leave next month because that's not realistic.
Okay, so that is possible to swap dates with somebody.
If they actually want to, but most people want to leave tomorrow, so it's pretty
Okay.
hard to sell.
Okay. I didn't know that that was a thing. So
If they're
that's
booking the same job and they wanna leave later and you wanna leave sooner, there's a possibility of changing the dates, yeah.
wow. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Well, what about for like non-citizens?
So non-citizens right now, we are booking them normal jobs instead of the non-citizen list, which is a lot smaller, especially depending on your ASVAB score. Obviously, it's on the contingency that you are going to get your citizenship in basic training. So if you don't get your citizenship, you will get that list back of the non-citizen list. But as long as you do get your citizenship, which I haven't heard an issue of recently of not getting it, you're going to get that regular list that everyone who is a citizen gets.
Okay, cool. And I gotta imagine that's one of the frequently asked questions you guys
Yeah.
get.
There's a few jobs you just cannot get, which I don't have on me right now, but there's a few that need like top secret things like that. But that's kind of obvious that we can't give regardless of if you're getting it in basic or not. But there is a bigger list now, thankfully, for non-citizens because you guys are getting your citizenship in basic training, so it does help out a lot on giving you more of a bigger list for jobs anyway.
Right. Okay. Well, what about for like GEDs and stuff like that?
So
Or
GEDs.
GEDs, and then I'm gonna follow up with, hey, what if I already have a degree, a bachelor's degree?
So with a bachelor's, you'll get a higher paying grade. It doesn't necessarily help you getting a specific job. But if you have your bachelor's, you're just going to come in as an E3 instead of an E1, obviously. GEDs, we still take GEDs. You just need a minimum score of, I believe, a 65 in order to join and book a job on the ASVAB. You need a 65.
Okay, so it's 65. I'm not holding you to this because I know that you're trying to do it off of memory. So
Yeah,
65 being the minimum, whereas normally if you have a
you
high
could get
school
it.
diploma,
Yeah.
you could have a lower score.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And then what about like let's just say drug use in the way that we are living in Vegas, marijuana is legalized here. So like what's the kind of left and right boundaries for that?
I will say a big issue I've seen in marijuana usage is that people will pop hot even if it's been 2 months, 3 months because of whatever's in this marijuana in Vegas that they're using. They'll swear up and down that they haven't smoked, and I can believe them or not, but whatever's in this marijuana in Las Vegas, it does stay in your system for like 2 to 3 months longer than the last time you used it. So be aware of that in marijuana use in general. As long as you are good and clean on your drug test when you go to MEPS, you're fine. And obviously, you can't use it anytime after that, but that's part of the paperwork we talk about from this day forward. You can't use drugs from when we sign this paper. But again, it pops hot still, even if they haven't used it. So be mindful of that too when you're starting your process, because you can have smoked 2 months ago, but it could still be in your system because of whatever marijuana you smoked.
Yeah, man. And so same. Okay, so well, this is not the same, but what about DUIs?
Ooh, DUIs. So we do work DUIs, but it will need a morals waiver, which takes a little bit longer on your process. So keep in mind that too, because it takes time for us to write the package, to get all the police records, which can take a while, especially if it's from a different state, which almost everybody I've worked has been from a different state, their DUI. So we have to get all the police records, statements, and then we have to get it approved by our commander. And then as long as it's approved, you're good to keep pressing on your process and book a job.
Man, yeah. Uh, I gotta imagine most of the DUIs are not of your 18-year-olds. They're
No,
probably more of the 25-year-olds, but
25, 30 year olds, yeah.
yeah, that's and there and actually you probably answer this right because I'm going to mess up the verbiage more than likely, but there's a difference between when you start talking about like legal issues. There's a difference between a closed case and then a see, I'm even missing it. Like somebody wants to join, but hey, I've got a criminal background or I've got a some kind of background. Like if there's a difference in the cases, right?
Oh yeah, there's tiers. There's different tiers. So
Okay.
like a robbery could be a different tier, a DUI could be a different tier. They all need different morals categories for the waiver. So everything can be either a 5 or a 1. Obviously, 1 is the worst. And then we don't take all of them if it's multiple, depending on the category. So if you have multiple, like a DUIs, if you have multiple DUIs or you have robbery or things like that, we won't take it. But also, if you disclose it with your recruiter, it's a lot better on you, um, as opposed to if we find it on your fingerprints after. Because you could be in the dep and you thought you were good and clear, but then your fingerprints come back and now you need a waiver. So your whole process is put on hold.
Okay. Yeah, somebody in the chat said expunged and sealed. So
So
I
we
don't know if
still have to disclose it even though it's closed and expunged. And depending on what it is, we still might need a waiver.
okay. All right. What about this one? We haven't actually, surprisingly, with special waiver, we haven't talked about this recently. What about tattoos now? Because I know that with the recent 362903 changes, like, so how's that impacted you guys?
We actually get a lot of tattoos behind the ears, which is just a no-go. It has to be a 1/4 inch, only one behind your ear. The same size of a quarter. If you have more, they have to get removed. There's no way around it. We can't waive it. A lot of people think you can waive it, but that's not what the waiver is for. It's for the tattoo you have. It's not if you have over the regulation. Same as hand, it can only be 25% of each hand. So a lot of people think you can waive it, which it kind of sounds like that, but it's not how it actually works. It's getting a waiver for what you have, not what we're trying to cover up, which would be the excess of like double behind the ear tattoos.
So you're proving my point right now about, hey, well, my friend or my brother said this. Like these things change
Yeah,
constantly.
all
Like
the time.
the new 362903 just changed, I think a month ago, month and a half
Mm-hmm.
ago, which then trickled down. It's like I'm telling you, if you're in the army or the Marines or my brother's X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah,
He's not keeping up with that.
yeah,
So
exactly.
he's the recruiter's lying to you. You totally can. Well, actually, guess what? You can't now. So,
Yeah.
you know, sorry, that still
It's
kind of bothers me a
a
little
little
bit.
sore spot.
Yeah, well, it's something. Um, so, like, can I get medical jobs? Because it seems like everybody seems to get medical jobs, or everybody wants medical jobs.
Everybody does want a medical job, and I've been a recruiter for a year, and now to date, I've only booked 2 medical jobs. So in a year, I've only booked 2. It is really hard to get a medical job, honestly. We get really lucky. We always want a medical job because everybody and their grandma wants a medical job. But just please keep your options open. Look at every single job because the ASVAB isn't lying to you when you score high in electrical, when you score high in mechanical. Like, it's set for that. You're meant to do a mechanical maybe, or you're meant to do an electrical job. Like, maybe your thing isn't medical like you think it is, and you can also go to school for medical. So it's not like that's just way out of the freaking picture. It's just what we can offer you is to be in the Air Force, to be an airman. That's what we're offering you. And a lot of people go in so headstrong, I want a medical job, and that's it. That's honestly what we cannot offer you. If you get lucky, you get lucky, and I'm so happy for you, but I'm not going to say you are getting a medical job. We just can't guarantee jobs like other branches, but also you're joining the Air Force, so that in itself is so much better than joining the other branches and leaving faster.
Yeah. Yeah. I love trashing the other branches as much as anybody else, but I'll leave it out. um, man, I had a really good question, and of course I dropped it inside my brain. Um, oh, man. Okay, well then I'll go back to my questions and hopefully I'll remember it. But um, medication uses, like we have a lot of folks that, whether they were younger, they were taking, they were diagnosed with asthma and they had inhalers or ADHD, so they're, you know, doctor prescribed them Ritalin or whatever it was. Like, how does that deal with if they took it as a kid and they stopped taking it? Can that impact them?
I'll say, because we can't give medical advice, obviously. All I can say is, as long as I will work you, as long as you didn't just get off of it. If it's been 6 months to a year, I will try to work you and leave it up to the Surgeon General to approve it or not. But I don't like to just say, nope, you're done, because there is a time where they can approve you, especially depending on the medication. Um, Especially with like childhood asthma, we've gotten those approved. It's not a complete no-go because almost everybody, I mean, my own kid had childhood asthma and she was 1 at the time. So I don't think that will still affect her as an adult. So it's up to the Surgeon General to approve it or not. We don't leave it to, oh, nope, you're done. We like to give it to the medical guys and let them decide because it really is their decision on if they are fit to serve for us. It's not up to us. There's only been a few times I've denied it, but that'll be like, hey, I just got off of it yesterday. Like, we do need a little time for you to be off of the medication and make sure you're good to go.
Yeah, for sure. In question from the chat is actually, so I'm interested to hear what your opinion is on this, but it's, let me find it here. It's, what makes the Air Force different from other branches?
I love that question. I know how to answer, but I also don't like to like say talk crap about the other
No, no, no.
branches.
You have an opportunity to just either this is your chance to showcase why the Air Force is better than all the other branches.
So I like to say when I get asked this, if you ever go to an Army base, which I've been to for my first tech school, if you go to Army bases, Marine bases, any other bases, you'll see such a difference in just the base in general. Obviously, we don't ever get the best locations, but I mean, it's government funds, so that's going to happen. But we just get treated so much better, TDYs, PCSing. Just our quality of life has been so much better like as opposed to the other branches, how they are deployed, how they are TDY. They hate us because we get treated so much better. And I always like to talk crap to them because we do get treated better. I was ops, so I was always with the pilots, the princesses, and they always got treated great. So that's what, like, my little spiel on why I say it's better. I just think our quality of life is just so much better than the other branches. And
Yeah.
they'll even attest to the same thing.
Yeah. And so first off, makes me happy that you called pilots princesses. That's
Well, I worked with
fantastic.
them for 10 years, so they're definitely princesses.
I love it. Um,
You know
yeah,
the same thing because you worked with them too.
I I'm not saying anything.
You're laughing for a reason.
Exactly. Um, yeah, the location is every location going to be a diamond, an incredible location? No,
I
right?
was
No,
in Missouri for my first base, Knob Noster, Missouri. Like, who heard of that? Nobody. But
I
I
guarantee
loved it.
nobody. Yeah, I guarantee nobody on here has heard of Knob Noster,
Yeah.
right? Right.
I was in Knob Noster, Missouri. I lived in Warrensburg, Missouri, which you probably never heard of either. I was in Little Rock. I was in Eglin, like just weird little small towns you never hear of. I'm from California, so those locations are so foreign to me, but I love them so much.
So, okay, so you said something that I need to pick out a little bit is you said that, you're in Knob Noster, you're in not the best of areas, right? Or maybe, some podunk town, right? And you're from California, but you said you had an amazing time. So what was it that made it an amazing time for you in a place where you never ever would have thought you would have lived?
I think because I'm from California and I'm used to the city, the so much going on that it was such a difference in like your view on life. Like I'm an 18-year-old in Knob Noster, Missouri, working for B2 pilots, which they're the best men ever. They're the sweetest guys ever. Um, but just getting out of my normalcy was so nice, and you're learning who you are as an adult by yourself without your parents. And you're in this new town learning how to be a person. So being outside of your comfort zone was like so big for me, and it helped me grow into like the airman or person I am now, you could say. But it was nice. And like Arkansas, same thing. I've never thought I'd be in Arkansas, but I loved it. I love nature. I love the green, which California doesn't have. I'm from LA, so we don't have that. So it's nice. That's what I tell my applicants. Like, don't be opposed to these small towns. They're so great when you actually are in them and you like discover these places. Like, you never would have been there if you weren't in the military. So being in the military, they're paying you to be in this place. You might as
Yeah.
well take advantage of it.
Absolutely, and I actually know I do know where Whiteman is in Knob
Oh.
Noster. Like I've been there a couple times, but yeah, the reason why I want to ask you that is because the you haven't been in an overseas unit, right?
No.
Okay,
I TDY'd to Scotland for 3 weeks. That's probably my biggest one, which was amazing, but
that sounds
yeah,
awesome.
it was
So
amazing.
yeah, oh well, that let me take a note to ask about that. But so one of the things that's kind of beautiful about one deployment locations, kind of overseas assignments, and then assignments that are in small towns where maybe there's not that much to do. I'm thinking like from a special warfare side of the house, I'm thinking like Clovis, New Mexico, Cannon Air Force Base, that kind of thing, right? And everybody that I talk to, they say, yeah, okay, it's not, maybe the location's not great. Now overseas, usually that's pretty awesome location, but they always talk about like what a great time they had, and the unit cohesion was
Mhm.
really high. Lots of good family time, lots of good experiences, and they almost kind of fondly look back at those times they had at those bases. So I think it's important to highlight that because you do hear about people going to, I don't know, Minot and those kind of places, and everybody's like trying to get out of those orders or that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of people that end up going to those locations that end up not not wanting to leave because they enjoy
Mhm.
themselves so much. Now, I'm not saying that that was the case for you in Knob Noster. Maybe it was, but
I was only there for a year, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
you were only there for a year.
Yeah, I actually got mill-to-mill orders to Arkansas, so I got out of there
Ah,
pretty quick.
okay. All right,
Mhm.
cool. Oh, I remember what I was going to say about the medical stuff. When you had talked about people wanting to go medical and everything like that, and to the folks out there, don't be so 100% sure sold on medical. And the reason why is because I had a buddy who he he was security forces, Then he came to be a PJ. He went through NDOC. He was at SOMSI when we were going through the medical portion, special operations medical course. And within the first like week or two, or whenever they started dealing with blood, he passed out. Anytime blood was
That's like
involved,
how I was. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, he would just drop faint, and they were like, "Well, okay, well, this is an issue." He's like, "Dude, I had no idea because he had never dealt with blood
That's
or
how I
needles."
was when I got radiology. I swore up and down I wanted medical as my like life career. And then when I'm in it, learning it, doing radiology, doing the scans, I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. Like, this actually isn't what I want.
Yeah,
And obviously, I did it the wrong way and failed out, but it ended up turning into a great career. So I'm not mad about how I did it. But it is true. You don't know that you want to do that. You may think you want that job, but it might not even be for you. That's why I say, like, ASVAB scores aren't lying. Like, you might be great at mechanical and you don't even know. But the test is telling you, like, hey, you scored really high in mechanical. You could probably be a beast at being a crew chief. And you don't even know because you're so set on medical. So
yeah,
that's why I try to tell my applicants, like, be open to it because you'd never know what's going to be like your niche.
yeah. Sorry, I derailed that. It's just I had remembered it, and
No,
I'm
no,
like,
you're fine.
it was adding to your point that you had made. So, and then to add to your also to your point about why we are better than all the other branches is that yes, I do know a couple of people that have gone from Air Force to Army. I don't know anybody that's gone Air Force to Navy or Air Force to Marines, but I do know
Yeah,
people that have gone Air Force to Army, and that was typically on the helicopter pilot side of the house
mm-hmm.
or the special warfare going to Green Beret. But like I know more Marine Recon, Marine Raider, SEAL, and Green Berets and Rangers that have come to be PJs, combat controllers, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know who's better.
There's a
I don't know.
reason.
I mean, maybe it's anecdotal. I don't know, but
I
whatever.
just have a lot of parents who were like 20 years Army, 20 years Marines, and they're like, nope, I am not letting my kid be
Yeah,
Marines or Navy or Army. And that's kind of for a reason, I feel.
yeah, for sure. You're not wrong. Um, what have you gotten a chance to travel a lot? I know you said that you were up in Scotland for 3 weeks and that kind of stuff, but like, how's your travel been?
As my last job, I didn't travel too much, honestly. We're support, so they'll take us if it's like a longer TDY. So I've been to like Idaho. Um, as a recruiter, I've been to Washington, Utah. I haven't really been to too many places on my last job. Support doesn't go unless they truly need us for longer ones like Scotland, which I wasn't even really truly needed, but I will take a Scotland TDY
Yeah,
any
yeah.
day. That was the best TDY I've ever been on. We were there for 3 weeks. It was a NATO exercise, which I was the last trip to ever do. It was amazing. I would do that trip again in a heartbeat, but we were just supporting the Germany squadron. So it was really awesome.
Was that up in Macrahanish?
No, I can't even remember the place we were in.
No.
Elgin? I think we're in Elgin.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of I just lived over there for 8 years, so like
Oh,
been
that's
all
awesome.
over the place, and that's a big TDY spot is up in Macrahanish and stuff like that. So,
It was
um,
awesome.
the Air Force Recruiting Service is saying that they're kind of not at an all time high for recruitment, but they're saying that we're going to smash our 2025 numbers. Like, you got any insight? Like, what do you think has changed to help that? Because prior years in the last 4 years, we were really kind of not hitting numbers very well. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know. I'm saying 4 years, kind of like guessing. I don't know.
COVID, yeah.
Maybe it's been 10 years. Maybe it's been 15 years. I don't know.
I really don't know what the difference is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what's changed. Maybe the whole COVID thing kind of affected everybody. And now that COVID's worn off, everybody's like, okay, I need to get my crap together and start a career path. I truly think that's what's been the motivating factor. I don't know an exact or specific reason why it's been so high lately. I will take it any day because it helps our numbers. But yeah, I can't say a pinpoint answer on why it's been so high lately.
Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't sure if Air Force Recruiting Service had pushed any kind of talking points down to you guys, like just inside of, hey, here's what's going on and here's what we're seeing.
I think the citizenship definitely has helped us a lot. That will help us because that's a brand new policy that they just approved. I think that's going to help us a lot because, like, for myself and my office partner, we do get a lot of non-citizens. So I know with that memo coming out, that's going to help us a ton. I've gotten a lot of texts from it asking if they can come join based on the non-citizenship policy. So I think a lot of what they're doing is steering in the right direction and kind of helping it open up to everybody who wants to join but didn't think they could join. So I think that does come into play for that.
Okay. Cool. Um, when do you recommend if somebody wants to join, like when do you recommend they reach out to you?
ASAP. As soon as you think of it in your brain, just come to our office or call or text us. We always answer. If not the same day, we'll answer the next day. We get a million calls a day, so don't take it personal. Don't think your recruiter hates you. We have a million applicants to work and process, but we will always reach back out to you. I know Vegas is super busy. Big cities are always busy, so be a little bit patient with us. We don't always get the patient kids and patient parents, but we are trying our hardest to work you and process you as fast as we can. It's just we have a lot of kids. We have a lot of processing. It's nothing personal. We literally are trying our hardest to reach out to every single text and every call and every inquiry in our bucket. It just we can't get it same day. Not every time, you know.
Right. And that's a great point. And I'll say it like, how many different modalities do you have? I know you got email, you got phone call, you've got text. What else are you having to respond to?
I get Instagram now. That's been a big thing lately. I've gotten a lot of reach out on Instagram. Texting and phone calls are probably the biggest ones. I've been getting emails a lot, and then we have our cards outside our office, so they'll email or text us too. But that's about it. I'll say text messages and calls are the highest ones. Instagram's here and there, just because not everybody finds me on Instagram. It'll be from a friend or family or something. But yeah, phone call and text are the biggest ones.
Okay. And then what's a reasonable amount of time to where you're not, because I'm telling you right now, we get the, hey, I called them yesterday or I shot them a text yesterday and they haven't responded. So what's a reasonable amount of time that we can share with them to like wait, like, okay, man, if it's been, of course, if it's been a month, yeah, you should
Yeah.
have reached out already. But what's a good amount of time?
I'll say max, because everybody has a life, everybody has family. I'll say max 2 to 3 days, just to be nice. 2 to 3 days. Um, we ourselves get told like, hey, you need to reach out to them by this day. So I'll say 2 to 3 max. Our policy is obviously 5 days, but we definitely try to go below the 5 days and try to do next day. Sometimes texts get lost, so text again, maybe. That doesn't hurt you, doesn't hurt me if you text me twice. Just let me know that you're there. I am processing people. Every recruiter's processing. Everybody has a priority list. Not saying you're not a priority, but just keep in mind there are people further in the process who are ready to book, and you're just brand new. We don't know if you're good. We don't know if you're qualified. So it's just to kind of keep those things in mind that a lot of people don't, and they kind of forget that we are human. You Not everybody looks at their phone 24/7. Just like we can't look at our phones. I have two little kids. I can't be on my phone 24/7. So just remember we are human. We don't always stay on our phones as much as everyone thinks we do. We do not. But 2 to 3 days, I'll say. If then, okay, cool, you want to move on, I get it. But we do try to get back to you within the next day at least.
Okay, yeah. And I say that because you guys are a lot of times you're one deep shops. Well, not one deep shop as in like but your area, that you're kind of assigned to. That's your like that's it. And
Mhm.
people call or text, you're on the phone, you're in meetings, you still have training you have to attend. You still have professional military education that you have to attend. There's still things that, and you nailed it, I'm sure you're still getting texts at 9 o'clock at night, and it's like, I don't know if you answer them or not, but I'm probably going like, I don't think so. Like, I'm good. I'll get to that tomorrow. But it's, and when you're dealing with 20 to 30 candidates at any one time, I'm actually curious on this because your organizational skills on your communication have got to be incredible. How are you keeping track of all these people?
My flight chief's watching, so I'm gonna tell the truth. No, I wish I was a lot more organized. And coming from admin, you would think I'm so organized, but with so many people, each person has a problem or each person has something I have to work on. Same with text messages. I have to remember each of these people's profile pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this person's waiting on an ASVAB. This person's waiting on a FIZ. This person's waiting on an SG waiver, dependency waiver. So I have to kind of dive back into my messages and kind of like re-summarize what I'm doing with them. And so if I don't have the time, I truly can't get back to you until I can log back in and see, hey, this is what I'm waiting for. Or I have really persistent kids who, hey, what's next? What's next? What's next? What am I doing? What am I doing? And it's like, give me a second. Because I do have to log back and I do have to check your stuff. Or I'm waiting on somebody else that's not me to get something approved or to get something scheduled, like a consult. So as much as I wish I was organized, I'm really not. I try to be every week. I try to reset and be organized. It just doesn't happen like I want it to. And my brain goes in 20 different directions. So it's definitely a work in progress, but
Yeah. No,
I'm
it's
trying.
it's got to be tough because like, and the thing is, and I'll say it so that you don't have to, but you can't, as a candidate, this is a message to you guys. You can't expect every recruiter to remember your exact situation, your exact scenario, right? When they're dealing with that many, and you're almost not cold texting or cold calling, but it's like, hey, I just got done dealing with somebody, and I know you just shot me a text, and I said I was logging in, but as I was doing that, I got a phone call or somebody
Mm-hmm.
walked in the door, so now I got to do that. Now that's 30 more minutes that I'm delayed. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm not blowing you off. I said me. Recruiters aren't ignoring you. Recruiters aren't blowing you off. They're just other things are happening, and you're not the only show in town.
Mm-hmm.
There, I said it.
That's a
You
big
didn't
thing
say
for sure. A lot of applicants recently, and I don't know if it's this generation or what, but they think that they are my only applicant. And that's so hard for me because I have so many applicants and we all do. All of Vegas has so many. So it's like, please just give me a minute and I will clear your stuff up. I'll answer your questions. But
it.
like you said, we get appointments, we get walk ins who are brand new people. They came in and took the time to come to our office. So we're going to give them that time. I'll give you your time on the text message, but just give me a second.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't really understand that, don't know why, but that is something that I wish people could understand more. Like, we do get a lot of stuff coming our way. New policies, our flight chief needs this, or we get a walk-in, or
Mhm.
expectations, or a quick ship just happened and we need to call people to try to book this job. Like, it's a lot of like moving parts that a lot of people don't see and understand.
Yeah.
So that's something I do wish for the future, that more people can be a lot more courteous to us and what we have going on. We all have families too. We could have emergencies that pop up. Like,
Yep.
it's just life. It happens.
You don't worry. Uh, we handle that. We we're the bad guys. You recruiters just continue to do what you're doing, and then we'll be the bad guys. So, um, all right, high schoolers. It's March 19th today. We've got 2 months, 2.5 months of school left. Like, should high schoolers, if they're interested in joining, should I just come and talk to you guys now? And then what is that
Yes.
cutoff? Because I know 17 is the cutoff, but
Mhm.
like, so they should come and talk to you guys now?
Yes, for sure. They can get a letter for graduation just stating that, hey, I'm on track to graduate in May. Cool. That that goes into place for their high school diploma. And then obviously the same supporting documents that we always need, Social Security, birth certificate, ID, and then that letter. And that'll help them start their process. That way, they're probably still going to have the summer here. So that's great because most people are worried about not having their last summer at home. And then they'll probably leave in the fall, which is perfect for most
Yeah.
people, especially being in Texas. I mean, Texas is hot. I'd rather go in the fall too.
Yeah. I was in August is when I left, and whew, it was
I went
warm.
in January and it was freezing.
Yeah. Texas is a little weird with its weather.
Yeah.
It doesn't know what it wants to be.
That's kind of like here.
Yeah,
Minus the
for sure.
summer.
Yeah, no kidding. Just hopping through the chat to see if I see any questions because we've got Aaron Love, who I know you met uh, at the Guardian Grid thing. He is in the chat and he's been just crushing questions and stuff like that.
I'm
So
sure
he's
he
answered a
is.
lot of them. Yeah, he's quick. Um, so one of the things that I definitely want to, and if we have more questions, I'll go into it. But one of the things that we want is, or we ask from our guests, is advice. Like, what advice do you give? And I'm gonna give you two categories. I'm gonna give you what advice would you give to high schoolers that want to join, and then what advice do you want to give to folks that have exited high school but are maybe on the older side? Um, what advice would you give them?
High schoolers, I'd say start as soon as you know. If you have the opportunity as a freshman to do JRTC, that's obviously going to help you rank up quicker. If you're a senior, cool, just come to me as soon as you start, or in your junior year, we have softbook program as a junior. So that just kind of helps you book a job before you even graduate high school. So you leave the summer of graduating. That's for juniors. Seniors, it's going to be like any other person. If you have college or if you have ROTC, that's going to help you rank up. But if not, that's fine too. A 6-year contract will also help you rank up. But as soon as you know or you have an idea, come talk to your recruiter because maybe there's stuff you don't know about us or stuff that you're questioning, and that's kind of made you teeter on your decision. But coming and talking to us, all of us have so many different career experiences that maybe interests you and you had no idea interested you. And that will kind of help mentor you into being into the military or help you decide what you want to do in life. Because for me, I didn't want to go straight to college. I wasn't ready for college. I just wanted a job and to be stable and independent. And that's the biggest avenue on how to do it. Um, I'd say for older people, same thing, I guess. Just kind of come talk to us, get your questions answered. If you're not ready, okay, but like what's really stopping you? Kind of think about that when you come in and after or before you come in. What's stopping you from joining? And we can kind of help alter that on how it can help you from our like point of view or our aspect on why it can help you. Maybe your life's not moving in the right direction or you want to do school but you don't want to go into debt. Like that's a big issue that a lot of people go through and they want to do is they can't afford school or they want health insurance, which we run into a lot. And this is literally how you get that. You get that stability. You get free schooling. Like, what jobs truly offer that? Free healthcare, free dental. Like, there's not many that give that and give the quality of life we get. Like, we are in the military, we wear this uniform, we're all together. It's such a great like fraternity that you're in forever. I still talk to people from basic training. Like, you're not going to get that in normal jobs. So that's the advice I'd give to older crowds. It's never too late. You're never too old, obviously, unless you're 42. But I put in a 41-and-a-half-year-old and he was my best applicant ever. So like it's never too late. He loves his life right now. Like he started it just hoping it would work out, and it can work out for literally anybody. 41, get your process started as fast as you can because you are on a time clock. But it is never too late to join with us, and we are always more than happy to answer any questions for whatever age.
Yeah, and the age thing is, yeah, it's 42, but if you had done time in the army or something like that actually can help you out. And say you did 4 years in the army, then now it's 46 is the cutoff for you. Like
Oh, okay.
it tags on. So
Yeah, prior service is a whole nother ball
yeah,
game, but
you guys don't deal with any kind of prior service, right?
yeah, actually.
Okay.
So right now it's kind of weird right now. I won't say I know exactly what's going on with prior service. We do take them, we don't take them. It just flip-flops. I've put in a prior service girl, she was Air Force. Um, so far I've only put in Air Force prior service. But we do take them. If you are prior service and you want to join, you should come to us. Probably I'd say August of this year is when we start to work you guys for the next fiscal year, which is October. So getting everything started is a lot easier for October. So we're ready to put you in. But I'll say for this year, we're probably close to being done with prayer service.
Okay. Well, are there any people within your flight or your organization, or maybe not, that you would like to give shout outs to? Maybe somebody who's mentored you, or maybe somebody who's, and I, like I said, I know that your flight chief, she doesn't count or he doesn't count. I don't know. I
She
don't know.
does
I don't
count.
know.
She's mama. I'll give shout outs to both my mamas. We have two flights in Vegas. We actually start off as one. And another shout out, we were number one in all of AFRS. So that's a huge accomplishment. Master Sergeant Westfall, she's the best flight chief. We call her mama for a reason. We call her for literally everything. I'm sure she gets annoyed with us all the time, but we don't care. And Master Sergeant Pinger, honestly, all of F&G Flight in Las Vegas have been the best family I could ever ask for. We've been through literally everything together. No one's judged. Everyone's just been there for each other. And during this time in my life was when I needed it the most. So I'm so grateful for every single person in both the flights. We're separated, but we still do everything together, so it's great. They are literally like a little family. We do flight meetings together, and it's so much
Awesome.
fun.
Um, no, that's good. And it's good to be surrounded by a good crew of people. And
Yeah,
it really does make all the difference. It
it
really does.
does. It really does. We'll be at our annuals, and all the other flights are like kind of not really close, and then all of us are loud and hugging and close and doing everything together, and we're like, this is us. We're normal. Like we have
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I did get a chat here that said, "Hey, can Emily or anyone elaborate more on the new policy that just came out for non-citizens?" Basically, he missed kind of coming through it. Can you go into the non-citizen thing one more time just to reattack that?
So, for non citizens, we have a new policy that allows us to book more jobs for non citizens. So, before there was a non citizen list, um, everything, if it's called TTMS, it just has like non citizen or citizen for that specific job. But now it's opening up to a broader list. There's still some jobs that they absolutely cannot book, but it is contingent on getting your citizenship in basic training.
Yep.
So obviously, if that doesn't happen, which I hope it doesn't happen, but you never know with the process, then you can book a normal job that doesn't require citizenship because you should be getting it in basic training.
Yeah. No, for sure. And so the ones that are difficult are going to be your top secret kind of
Right,
jobs.
exactly.
That's where it starts to become an issue. And then like look at all. Okay, he just responded and said, "Oh, got it. Cool." So oh man, another one just came in. You may have answered it already though. What's the biggest advice that you would give someone in their 20s? Like the biggest thing that you have learned throughout your So you already answered the 20s one. Hey, I can't even see their user guest. Um, go back through and watch it again for the because you gave some solid advice for the people in their 20s. But what's the biggest thing that you've learned throughout your years?
Ooh, um, look out for yourself and your career. I'll say, yes, you do have supervisors that will hopefully look out for you. I can't say all supervisors will look out for you because there are some that are crusty and don't want to look out for you. But always make sure you're looking out for you and your troops. That's the biggest thing that I always live by. I always made sure to look out for me and my troops, whether it's awards, whether it's whatever opportunity there is. But nobody has a bigger impact on your career than yourself. So, however you want it to go, you make that happen. Don't depend on others to make your career progress or make it as good as you want it to be, that is literally up to you, whether that's testing, whether that's awards, whatever it is, that is up to you. Don't blame others for your downfalls or whatever good you get. It is seriously just on you.
Yeah. Um, I would only adjust that and go, it's 99% on you. There's
Yeah.
for sure I would not be in any of the places that I was at. There's like I can probably count on 5 hands that have 100% mentored me and helped kind of push and pull me in certain directions.
Right. Yeah.
So yes, I still did the work,
Mhm.
but they facilitated and paved the road for me to kind of go that direction. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Whether it's good or bad, yeah.
yeah. Awesome. All right. Last question. Where can people find you?
So I am on Instagram, Staff Sergeant EM Ransom, or my number is 725-233-7112. I am located at the Boulevard Mall in Las Vegas. If you just type in Boulevard, I am in the mall. Kind of hard to get to, but if you call me, I can kind of navigate you through. But yeah,
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, everybody out there, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining the chat. Really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you coming on. Um,
thank
and,
you.
and especially, and I'll give your flight chief a shout out too. Thanks for letting her come on. You'd be surprised how many people, um, are kind of like, oh, I don't know. They still haven't bought into this new kind of media. And you're like, man,
Yeah,
like, dude, this is where it's
that's
at.
good for us.
Yeah, exactly. So I do appreciate it. So thank you. It's good seeing you again. And everybody else, we're out here. Later.